62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and the bottom of the economic food chain is already collapsing, Michael Snyder reports. Thanks to a soaring stock market, the wealthy are feeling very good about things right now, but the rest of the country is really hurting. Homelessness is rising at a fastest pace ever recorded. The number of children that are suffering from hunger is really rapidly growing, and more than 60% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The mainstream media continues to insist the economy is in good shape. But how can that possibly be true if nearly 2/3 of the entire nation is just barely scraping by? And according to brand new numbers that were just released, the percentage of U.S. adults that live paycheck to paycheck has actually increased by 4% just since the month of March. 62% of adults in December said they live paycheck to paycheck, up from 58% in March. 40% of consumers living paycheck to paycheck have super prime credit scores. 57% of consumers who own credit cards are living paycheck to paycheck. Yikes. But even though most of the country is living on the edge financially, 96% of shoppers say that they plan to overspend this holiday season. This year, holiday spending from November 1st through December 31st is expected to increase between 3% and 4% over last year to a record total of $957.3 billion to $966.6 billion, according to the National Retail Federation. Even as credit card debt tops $1 trillion, almost all, or 96%, of shoppers say they expect to overspend this season, a separate TD Bank survey found. Half of consumers plan to take on more debt to cover those holiday expenses, according to another report by Ally Bank. Only 23% have a plan to pay it off within 1 or 2 months. Are you kidding me? Needless to say, those numbers are yet another confirmation of what I wrote about yesterday. We just can't help ourselves. No matter how much we already have, we always feel the need to have more. But even though we continue to spend more money, we certainly are not better off than in past years. Just check out these new poll numbers. Almost half of voters say the Biden administration's economic policies have hurt them, and only 14% said they are better off, according to yet another poll that suggests President Joe Biden is struggling to get his message across ahead of next year's election. Even he realizes it, quietly benching the term Bidenomics in speeches during the past month. Overall, his economic policies have a 32-point disapproval rating in a new survey for Fox News, with far more voters feeling they have been hurt than helped. The people that are doing better off are those at the very top of the economic food chain. The stock market has been doing really well in recent weeks, but some experts are warning that this is just a temporary phenomenon. In fact, Harry Dent is warning that 2024 is going to be the biggest single crash year we'll see in our lifetimes. As the clock ticks closer to 2024, one outspoken economist is making a dire prediction about the markets in the new year. Since 2009, this has been 100% artificial, unprecedented money printing and deficits, $27 trillion over 15 years to be exact. This is off the charts, 100% artificial, which means we're in a dangerous state, Harry Dent told Fox News Digital. He said, I think 2024 is going to be the biggest single crash year we will see in our lifetimes. For some reason, he's pointing to the month of May as a time when things will get really bad. If I'm right, he says, it's going to be the biggest crash of our lifetime, most of it happening in 2024. You're going to see it start and be more obvious in May, the analyst stressed. So if you just get out for 6 to 12 months and stuff stays at the highest valuation history, maybe you miss a little more gains if I'm wrong. If I'm right, you're going to save massive losses and be able to reinvest a year or year and a half from now at unbelievably low prices and magnify your gains beyond compare. Of course, predicting a stock market crash in 2024 is not exactly going out on a limb. This kind of predicting It's kind of like predicting that the sky will be blue or the jets will stink. At this stage, everyone can see that the stock market bubble is on borrowed time. Meanwhile, the bottom of the economic food chain is really collapsing. 1 out of 5 US children already do not have enough food to eat. US food banks are dealing with unprecedented demand. Homelessness in the United States is growing at the fastest pace ever recorded. The homelessness crisis is particularly dire in the state of California. If you can believe it, California accounts for almost half of all people living in the streets in the entire country. California counted 181,399 people experiencing homelessness in January. Of those, 123,423 people, 68%, were unsheltered, meaning living outside in tents, cars, or other makeshift shelters, as opposed to indoor shelters or temporary setups. At 68%, the state has a greater share of its homeless population living outdoors than any other state and accounts for 49% of all people living on the streets in the whole of the United States. In most states, the majority of the homeless population is indoors. New York, for example, has one of the largest overall homeless populations, but only 4.9% were on the streets. In my new book, I encourage those that are living in the state of California to consider relocating. The state possesses immense natural beauty, but the left has turned it into a nightmare. When an economic crisis arrives, it's those that are at the bottom of the food chain that often feel it first. The bottom of the economic food chain in the United States is already collapsing, and it won't be too long before those at the very top feel a tremendous amount of pain as well. This is by Michael Snyder, and he says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available on paperback and Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. And any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.